Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Long Shots podcast. I know it's been a while since I posted a video here, but have a super, super exciting episode for you guys tonight. I have my friend, mentor, coach, brother, Adam Jablin on the podcast. So welcome, Adam.
My man.
Excited to have you here and to dive into this conversation and to just really unpack what it is that you do and how you serve your people.
Yeah. And by the way, I like to also do the same with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You know, a lot has changed.
A lot has changed. Yeah, Adam and I have known each other for probably a year now.
Yeah.
Probably about a year. And just a little backstory on how we met. Adam and I got connected. I was producing a podcast. Adam was a guest. I saw Adam, was very, very intrigued about just him as a person and what he did from a business standpoint with his coaching programs and everything that he does. And I was like, I got to work with this guy. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, I got to work with this guy. So I went on the website, read about you for probably like 2 or 3 days straight, just like honestly like Googling you and like trying to dig up any information that I could about like what you do and then I just texted Scott, who runs the From the Grave podcast, which is the podcast that I was producing. And then I was like, hey, like, I want to get connected with Adam. Like, what do you think the best way for me to do it is? And he was like, dude, I'll just give you his number. I'm like, oh, okay, that was easy. And the rest is kind of history.
And I was saying the same thing to Scott on the other end. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that guy's got it. I mean, you were so professional, the way everything was set up. And it was you. It was the way you pay attention, the way you focused, the way you just kept everything on point. And remember, I said over and over how professional you are.
Yeah.
And I think now not you, but we've all got to see how that true professionalism and really caring about your craft took you from here to here.
Yeah. And also I think that I appreciate those kind words. And I also think that like, if you spot it, you got it. And like when a high performing or a high level individual, when you get around another person like that, you can kind of just like sense it,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a wrap.
I was looking for my phone. I was like, what did I do with my phone? I was like, I need my notes. I think that being prepared is very important.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And that's also a good blend between you and I.
Yeah.
Where you're very prepared and meticulous. I'm a little more free flow, but when you put it together,
It makes for some good stuff.
oh man, it's magic.
So I mentioned Adam as a coach, right? So maybe you can share some knowledge maybe you could share just generally like there seems to be confusion nowadays to what a coach really is. So maybe you can kind of break it down for people and in the simplest form possible, what it is that a coach is and what it is that you do.
Yeah, and we've discussed this together as well. First off, it's a beautiful space to be in. It's a beautiful space to be in, and I've seen people crush it and do extremely well. And sometimes the models are a little different.
Right.
Where it's a little bit more of, I've built this business, I've done this already, and I'll throw a mastermind or I'll put this together, I'll put that together, and hopefully you'll get a little bit of the secret sauce rubbed on you and proximity is power type feel.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that model at all. It tends to work for a lot of people. The way I was taught and the way I was put into the game was, I'm really there for the individual now or the groups, to get them to their achieved goal as fast as possible, as easy as possible, with the guidance, the love, the knowledge, and also the truth, because so many times, specifically for the people that I've worked with, it's not so much adding more education. It's not adding these new tools. A lot of times it's removing. It's what they have to remove.
Interesting.
From their mindset, from their belief systems, from the way they behave every day, from their habits. And as you start removing those things, now you have the room, now you have the space to truly become who you are, and then add some new skills.
Yeah, it's like the cup analogy, right? Like if you have a cup and it's full, like if a client comes to you and their cup is full with all these thoughts and all this stuff scrambled, like you can't pour into that cup.
No.
Unless they empty some out first.
Yeah. And really what we're trying to get to within every person, or every person you're working with, every group you're working with, is you're trying to get to the truth. You're trying to get to the truth. What is their true north?
Yeah.
Where do they really want to go? Then once you get that, now you have a map. Now the blueprint really starts. But when it's overfull and the head's going too fast, and they know what they want the life to look like in an image or in a reel, but not what it really takes to get there, you get to the truth, you start removing some of the issues, and now you start adding, some of the new skill set, and it comes together beautifully.
Based upon people coming with full cups, finding the truth, all that would come with a new, person who is working with you.
Yeah.
What are some common things that people have in their cup that often need to be removed?
Well, right off the bat, what they have is they're believing a lie.
Okay.
So imagine that. You're believing a lie. So if I sat here and I constantly told you, and you're coaching me, and you're helping me build my life, my company, my mindset, the way I'm going to live in the world, and I'm constantly telling you, this room is blue. This is a blue background. You're just, well, Adam, I understand, and I could see where you think it's blue, and I could, and so what we do is we go back into the story to remove the lies.
Right. So like figuring out who told you the room is blue.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have a new you have a new perception on life, you have a new perspective, and you go, okay, this is red. This is red.
Yeah.
You can start seeing clearly.
I think that oftentimes people have a hard time like buying into something or believing something if they haven't experienced it themselves.
Yep.
Right. Which is exactly how I felt when I started the process. And like, I'm like to the core of me, I am a firm advocate in coaching, right? In having someone help you see the forest from the trees, changing perspective, all that stuff. I think it's invaluable. Like you need it. I think everybody needs a coach.
Well, what
at
I love
some point.
Yeah. Well, especially with us, right? Which is,
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite analogies, but it's true. It's totally true, especially with you. It's my Michael Jordan analogy, which was when Phil Jackson took over the Chicago Bulls, he never taught Michael Jordan how to dribble, how to shoot, how to dunk, his mid-range game, how to pass the ball. His skills were complete, but he didn't know how to actually win. He didn't have the blueprint to win. And the whole NBA figured it out. Michael is going to not pass the ball. He's going to take over, double, triple team him, put him on the floor, whatever it was. And when he learned a new way of thinking and a new way of playing and a new way of believing, okay, if I start trusting my teammates, if I start trusting the ball, passing the ball, if I start sharing, they can't double team me the whole time. I'll be more free to move. I can pick and choose my spots. It's the perfect analogy with what happened with us. It wasn't the skills. The skills were there. The skills were already there. And with a lot of people I work with, the skills are there. But they've been playing the game one way for so long. And it got them to a certain level. And since it got them that level and they want to go to that next tier, there's a lie somewhere in there. There's a lie. They're believing a lie. If I just keep repeating it, definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Right? Repeating the same behavior over and over, thinking it'll change, So you remove the lie, you let them see life from a different perspective. Dude, it's my favorite thing to do in the world. It's my favorite thing to do in the world.
Great.
Yeah, the lights turn on, they see different paths.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible what I was able to achieve with you in a short period of time. It wasn't short. I mean, it was like probably what 7 months of like intense, 6 or 7 months of
Yeah.
like intense work, which was like once a week we were diving in, and then I was doing work on the side, which is extremely important. What if somebody comes, and I don't want to toot my own horn or whatever, like and say like I'm Michael Jordan or whatever, right? But like, what if somebody comes to you, maybe they have a goal or something that they want to achieve or a desired outcome they want to get, but they don't have the skills necessary to get there. Like, what do you do then?
So that's almost even more fun because first you have to let them understand that there's more information and more education that they can acquire to get to that place. Then they have to believe it. They have to believe.
It seems like that's the common denominator in a lot of the work that we've done.
100%.
The belief, right?
100%. And also sometimes, and you can testify, which is why I can't wait to ask you questions. People don't understand if you focus on this and you get this area of your life right, it allows all of this to become healthy and well.
Yeah.
So many times people come to me and they think the problem is X. It's like, well, okay, let me see your relationship with your spouse, with your children, how you're spending your time, how you take care of yourself. Let's just look at the basics. Right? Like they teach you in kindergarten to first, second grade.
Yeah.
And it could be anything, man. It could be they're busy, but they're not productive. They're focusing on things that are just occupying their mind and making themselves worry.
Yeah.
But, so they're just worried, but they're not actually attacking the process that's going to get them better. They're falling back into people pleasing, lying, if people even want to say imposter syndrome, which is just like they just don't feel adequate. I don't know about imposter syndrome and all that. They just don't feel like they're right. And it's like, hey, join the club.
Yeah, they feel out of place. Yeah.
Join the club.
Right. Belief, limiting beliefs, it all, like, break that down a little bit, right? Because I think that we hear that term a lot. People put it out there, right? But really, what is a limiting belief?
Well, you know what? Let me use I statements.
Okay.
Right? So in the beginning, it was, look, I know how to really help people get clean and sober, but I can't help them in all areas of their life.
Yeah.
Or it's something that you just can't see past that hurdle because you haven't done it.
Okay.
Right? And in order to do that, sometimes it takes a risk. It could be putting down a credit card, buying a course. It's acquiring knowledge that you don't think you need because you don't want to buy into the hoopla. You're way more comfortable staying stuck. A lot of it's also blaming or being a victim and not taking responsibility for your life. My wife is always this. My wife is always the kids are always okay. Well,
what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to lovingly, cautiously, but truthfully put a mirror up.
Yeah.
And let them see the truth. And look, I've told you this story before, but it's 100% true. When I got my first ticket to see Tony Robbins, which has been so amazing in my life now. But when I was like, I'm not doing this bullshit. Yeah, I'm not going there and jumping up and down and buying into this guy's stuff. I'm certainly not wearing a hat. I just had this, I'm not, and I went in, I had this remarkable ticket, CIS. I'm like right by his wife. And the guy comes on stage and within 2 hours, I'm like, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. I feel like a lot of people have that, be it sometimes in recovery and they find out there is a higher power, but like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Uncomfortable to you, by the way. They're really not that uncomfortable. Once you do it, which I can't wait to get into your story, right? Like building a business. But once you do it, you start finding that there's so much joy in it.
Right.
There's so much happiness in it. But you haven't experienced it, and there's a block. There's a fear. You know better. You know better, and then you start blaming everybody else. You oughta. If you only. You should have. He's lucky. He got this. She got that. So it just keeps you in this prison within your own mind. And really it's both ways. You're staying stuck in here and you're keeping all the good stuff out.
You're blocking the blessings.
You're blocking the blessings.
Yeah.
So Jordan, go ahead. Keep the ball. Keep the ball. Go ahead. Score your 48. Score your 46. You're never going to win a championship. And once he had the right coach and the right person to talk to him, to show him the real game within the game, start sharing the greatest of all time. And that's how I see everybody I work with, groups I work, like I see them as like, you have no idea how amazing you are. We just have to remove the lie.
So much good shit in there to unpack. The next thing I wanted to talk about was authenticity, which kind of ties into the coaching and being who you really are. But also I feel like, like that also correlates with the limiting beliefs and like just being who you really are. So like if somebody's struggling with that, or maybe they're unsure if you're authentic or if they're being authentic, I mean, how do you know?
So I think each one of us is built in with some sort of detector. I really, really do.
Yeah. Like an intuition type thing.
Total intuition, a vibe, a feeling. And, you just spend a little time around the person. You study their behaviors. You study the way they're talking. You study the eye contact, which I loved about you from the minute we met. Professionalism. And you can literally feel, it's an energy. You can feel where the blocks are. And here's a great way to explain it, especially in today's, the elections coming up. If people have no idea what I'm talking about, try to go into a political conversation with somebody.
Yeah, you really find the true colors, right?
Yeah, and bring up whatever candidate, and you'll start feeling a vibe. Yeah. You'll start feeling an intensity, or you'll start feeling them pull back, it's like that. You can tell when somebody's telling the truth. And even the most charismatic of them, even the most suave, you can tell when they're using somebody else's words, when they're repackaging things, when it becomes a little bit of lip service. So you got to trust that, but you have to trust it. Yeah. Or they'll get you.
Yeah. Good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So I know you have a lot of new, exciting things on the horizon with your brand and your business and other things that you're working on. And I've seen on your social media, things that you're doing, but I just need to know a little bit more. I need to know about what's going on. So I've seen the Jablin method. I've seen All In. I've seen these different things popping up on my feed. I think your brand started off as the Hero Project, which is an incredible brand. So tell us about the shift. Tell me about the Jablin method and the All In and what people can expect.
And it's still under the Hero Project, right?
Okay.
It's still under the Hero Project, which I'm still extremely proud of, because I do believe that every single one of us is going through their hero's journey.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But I was coached. I was pushed. I was made to feel extremely uncomfortable, in which, one of the best saying, the Hero Project took you from here to here, but you're way more than that. And it's time for you to help more people, stop thinking about yourself, and stop living in that comfort zone where you are with the Hero Project and the hero's journey, and you're constantly doing one-on-ones and, being an expert at that. It's really time for you to expand and own who you are.
Love that.
And it sounds like a compliment. And when he's like, and he told me it has to be under your name. And I remember like looking up at him, 6'8", and being I literally said, like, isn't that narcissistic? He's like, you're saying I'm a narcissist? I'm like, I'm not comparing myself to you. And he's like, that's your problem. That's your limiting belief. So look, the core of my message, the core of it is, I truly believe we're all addicted to something.
Okay.
Addicted to something, even if it's a story, if it's the lie, if it's a substance, if it's a pattern, if it's the way you live, if it's your phone, whatever, like we're all addicted to something. And how can we take that obsession, that obsessive mind, and harness it so you can truly find your purpose? So the Jablin method, we're laying it out now. I'm extremely proud of it, but it's going to go into other areas. It'll be taking lessons from being the fat kid into bodybuilding. It's going to take lessons from treatment and rehab. It's going to take all the spiritual principles. It's going to take the messages from the mentorship. It's going to take lessons from the entrepreneurial journey, which has been the scariest journey I ever went on.
Right.
That road less traveled, that, okay, you're really going to bet on yourself now and having the entire package rather than just the individual's hero's journey to accomplish one goal, how to have it truly holistic, truly holistic. Awesome. Which will branch out also to people. Like, I happen to attract people, how you doing, that are all in.
Okay.
They're just all, you could call that whatever you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the addictive mind, the obsessive mind, but those are the people I attract. People that just can get tunnel vision, locked in, focused. That could go to healthy things and that can go to unhealthy things.
Right.
Let's get all in and locked in on you, on all of it.
Okay.
On all of it. Because that's what I want. Not only is that what I want for every single person that I meet, but that's what I want for myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to be successful and thrive in a coaching business and be an absentee dad. I don't want to be the best dad, but not have room for a love life.
Yeah.
I don't want to crush it in one area and allow that area to justify and rationalize all my other areas of my life. I just don't want that. I want to be fully alive in all areas, including faith. And I never tell people how to believe. Never tell them how to believe, but every single person has faith.
Yeah.
Every single person has faith. Higher power, God, Yahweh, Jesus, invisible forces, spiritual. At that point, it doesn't matter to me, but to be a complete person, you need to focus on every single area and not just go through your hero's journey, accomplish a mission, feel really, really good and rewarded, but perhaps some other areas fell short.
Are these one-on-one setting or group stuff or how?
So the way, look, I'm still going to keep my one-on-ones because I really enjoy it. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Like our connection.
There's lots of transformation that happens.
Oh,
intimacy, relationship building.
I love it. When you see somebody thrive, you feel like you can't explain the gratitude and the appreciation and the joy you see when somebody else is doing what they want to do.
The mission is accomplished.
Yeah, it's the best feeling in the world. However, there's only so much of me.
Right, your time is limited.
Yep. And I really would love to impact and help as many people as I can. Mm-hmm. So that's when the speaking started kicking up, the group started kicking up. Even though on a reel or on an Instagram page, it could look like I'm going here and here and here. I'm doing a lot of work in the dark. And that's another thing that people need to understand, which is where coaching and which is why I can't wait to get into what you're doing. But sometimes people don't see the work in the dark.
Right.
They don't see everything you're putting into your life, your methods, your systems, your business when all this is not around. And I really had to go, deep. I had to go deep and just go, do I want to stay here? And just constantly be the one-on-one guy and perhaps almost be shifted to the one-on-one guy and only with people with addictions? Or I've been through a divorce. That was the most painful thing I've ever been through. You know, you're a family and then you're a divorce, you're a divided force. You know, people that have gone through some major traumas. Like I would love to be able to truly help people and impact people on a higher level. But also stay in my lane. That's one thing that I have to do. That's something that's near and dear to me, which is I know I attract these all in motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Just people that have that intensity and focus, obsessive mind that could be your greatest asset and can also crush you.
Right.
Can I pick your brain?
Yeah. There's a few other things that I think that need to be out there in the airwaves, but
Yeah, okay.
let's switch to me, and then we can. I just have a few other things that I think we should touch on.
Okay. And maybe it'll come out naturally.
Yeah.
So, husband, father, great gig, working for a company that you love, that you truly enjoyed your coworkers, the people you worked for, was growing, and knew inside that your calling was bigger, and knew that you wanted to have that personal freedom and that personal success. Like, what was that like to take that step on that entrepreneurial journey, the road less traveled, and go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you know, I've committed to this. I've committed to my family. I've committed to getting well. I've committed to this company. I'm going to commit to me, and I'm going to go all, like, what was that like?
For me, there was always resistance to it because I had an experience with starting another business in 2019 that was a learning lesson and an eye-opening experience. But it always comes up when I'm moving, when it comes to like business stuff. It makes me think differently just because of the experience. My brain always goes to like saying that it was a failure, but it was the furthest thing from a failure. It was education, you know? So this time coming into it, I just did things differently. I thought differently. I was more cautious, more tactical, more calculated. So when I made the decision, I knew that it was going to work because one, I was all in, and I had a proven like track record, like data numbers that I did from the previous year, you know, while I was working this job. And I just knew that, you know, okay, so I'm working 40 hours a week and I'm building this business on the side, and here's the data, right? So take away the 40 hours here and put it over here, what's going to happen? It's gonna rise. So that was really, really important for me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to quit my job and start a business. The business was already operational, and I already had clients, and I had a strong foundation. But I think the most important thing about that pivotal point in the journey is that I'm so obsessed and passionate about what I'm doing that I can't lose. You know, like I'm obsessed with making videos.
Yeah.
You know, and it's grown into so many other things, telling stories, helping brands and businesses grow, impacting lives through the things that we create. Like actually people's lives are changing from what we're creating, right? All that is fine and dandy, but like I was just so obsessed with cameras and movie and just like that whole realm of things. So I knew with those things combined, it was, you know, and of course with the help of you and being super just very, very, I keep using the word tactical. I think that's a good word, but I think there's another word that can describe it a little bit better because I don't want it to sound like military, you know?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I just knew that it would work. And I believed in myself, right? Which is another thing, you know? I had the belief, I had the numbers, I had the obsession, and that all combined was a recipe for for good things to happen.
Yeah. I mean, what I got to experience using my language was I saw the faith, I saw the belief, and then I saw the trust, and then I saw the balls.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, they don't talk about that part.
Yeah.
You could call there's better words, courage, you know, but I'm going to always be me. It's a pair of balls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Male or female, like to be able to say, I know I can do this. This is why I bring up a loving husband, a loving dad, a very balanced life. You know, it is hard for people. You know, it's hard for people to leave something safe.
But is it really safe?
It's a great question.
Everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Everything that your core and your soul wants is on the other side of making that decision that's scaring you.
Yeah. But even this part, so you also prided yourself with what you can do behind the camera. You know your toys. You know these systems and how it works. And then to go in front of the camera and be able to tell other people, you can do this too. And I can help you and I can show you. Like, what has that been like?
Okay, I can share a very specific experience about this. And this has to do with just a photo, right?
Yep.
So, and dude, this is so insane because we just think like, oh, it's just a picture or it's just a video, right? But like, I think I changed someone in in this experience I'm gonna tell you about right now. So, doing headshots, right? And a lot of times you're unless it's like a high paying client and you're with them for an hour, then it's like, it really is an experience and like you can really capture the essence of somebody. But like when you're doing stuff in the corporate setting, you might only have 5, 6, 7 minutes with one person to get a few really good images. Sometimes you might have to do 10, 12, 15 people at a time, right? So I had this one young lady come in. She was like, oh, I'm not photogenic, which everybody says, right? I hate having my picture taken. I'm not photogenic. I'm like, okay, well, we're here, so let's make the best of it, you know? And she was like, well, yeah, growing up when I would take pictures and my mom, she just always told me that I'm not photogenic. I'm like, well, guess what? That's a limiting belief. This is my exact words. That's a limiting belief that she instilled in you. And today we're going to shift that. We're going to change that. I said, stand over here. I moved her. I shifted the pose. I said, no, move your shoulder down, move your chin a little bit. I snapped like 2, 3 pictures. I said, come look at this picture. And I was like, I showed her the photo. I was like, that is not someone who's not photogenic. I said, that is an amazing picture. She lit up. She walked out of there and was like, I think she left that 5-minute experience different than the way she walked in.
That's what I love about you.
Yeah.
What you do, like, that's why you also love your work. You impact other people's lives. But then it's that experience, but it's also the way you truly go all in on education, meaning like now you know how to build YouTube channels, right? You know how to help people with systems. You can actually take somebody and truly somebody that has no relevance in a social media world,
Right.
you know what I mean, where everybody is getting their information, truly.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting their information from social media. You know, I include YouTube in social media.
For sure.
You know, so
the number 2 search engine below Google.
Yeah, there you so right, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, but this is where people are getting their information.
Yeah.
Very rare is it someone, you know, putting on, you know, the TV and waiting or actually opening a newspaper.
It's all at our fingertips.
Right. And you now can take somebody through the whole journey that maybe has no social media presence.
Yeah.
And can document them, make it look good, make it pop, gain an audience, right? Know the timing of putting things on. Build it. Like, what was that like? That of going, you're not just a one-man operation. You're not the guy just taking a picture and showing the woman, look, you are photogenic. You can bring somebody all the way.
Yeah. So the first thing that came into my mind when you asked that question was, for the longest time when I was growing up, and this was probably 2007, 2008, I'd be messing around, making videos with the mini camcorder or whatever. Everybody told me that I would never make money doing video, or I would never make money doing photos, right? Look at the world now. It's literally a foundational element for every brand and every business. Videos, visual media. You have to have it, or else you're going to be left behind, right? So I didn't pursue it because of that belief that was instilled in me. But once I started earning a little bit of cash doing it, I was able to kind of like be like, yeah, I stuffed that out, right? But I think in today's day and age, right, if you are a successful, business owner, entrepreneur, a busy individual who is running a brand or a business, your time is limited, especially when it comes to creating content, planning out videos, scripting them, posting them to your channels, replying to people, right? Your time is limited. You need to be working in the business. You can't be editing videos, right? How can you run a $1 million company and be worrying about editing videos?
Right.
You can't do it.
Right.
So that's where I really kind of found my foothold in the industry, is that people have a need for content, but they don't have the time to do it themselves, right? So if they work with somebody like Nycz Productions and our company and our system, right? All they need to do is show up once a month for 2 to maybe 3 hours maximum, right? That allows us to film enough content to post them a video every single day of the month, right? But they also don't have to worry about coming up with the video ideas or scripting them. We do all that. They don't have to worry about, technical setup, right? We do all that. They don't have to worry about the post processing, editing, they don't have to worry about posting, right? We can even set up landing pages with video sales letters, long form trainings, right? Because a lead is, even if it's on social media, a lead is only, it's just that. It's a name and a number. It's a contact, right? I'm sure you have a lot of experience with this. You can't just get a lead and then boom, they become a customer. You have to nurture them. Mm-hmm. It's a statistic. You can look this up on Google. Somebody is going to watch 7 hours of your content before they actually buy something from you. So if somebody's thinking about you, right, or maybe a coaching program, whatever it is, they're going to watch 7 hours of your content before they even consider giving you a credit card or a payment or whatever it might be. So how do you get there? How do they watch, 7 hours of content, right? That's where the value comes in. You need to be providing value beyond just what you're doing on social media, right? That's where your longer form trainings are, right? So let's say you do a short reel about limiting beliefs, right? And then you end that video with, hey, I know limiting beliefs are a thing, right? It's a real thing. I've created a long form training that's free that you can watch, right? That will help you break through whatever, 3 of your top limiting beliefs or whatever it might be, right? And then they go to a website that has a 5-6 minute video of you on it. And you're that much closer to that 7 hour mark of them watching your stuff. And then of course you have links to book calls and all that stuff. And then you have a sales team and you have people who are, that back end infrastructure, which is also very, very important. But with that whole system in place, it is, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it becomes predictable in a way where, of course, if you're investing in content, you're paying to have video production, you need a return on it, right? So, but with the system in place, you can track where the lead's coming from, how are they getting nurtured, how are you contacting them, what percentage of them are closing. So it's like a predictable, scalable, but also trackable, right? If you can't track the analytics of what you're doing, then it's kind of just you're willy-nilly in it out there. So if you're just posting videos about whatever it is, you can't really expect results. So it has to be a system with a foundation in place with trackable analytics that you can know that your hard-earned money is being spent resourcefully.
And you track the analytics for them.
Yeah.
But I also think so we're both in very, let's say, competitive industries, right? Like you could say that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, coaching, making content, but helping people. Like we're both in competitive industries.
We are. I also think that, that's also one thing that people let deter them. Like it deters them away from doing what they really want to do. There's always competitiveness in any space, in any business. That's the thing. Everything's already been done before.
Yeah.
It's never been done with you.
But part of the magic I feel about you, truly, is that, let's say those people, they understand they're watching this and they hire you, right? They're like, okay, I can do that for 4 hours in that one that one time that he needs me, we content for the month.
Yeah.
I think one of the brilliant parts about you is you know how to actually tell a story and bring the best out in that person. Like you've even told me,
Yeah.
I want you to talk about this, Adam.
Right.
You know, you actually really pay attention to whoever you're working with, a business, a coach. You've worked with, you know what I mean? You've worked with empires, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like really, really big centers. And you know how to tell the story in a way that's attractive to the viewer.
That's what it is. It's all about like thinking of the consumer.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've all consumed. I've consumed things all the time. You know, like I'm helping a buddy of mine run ads right now on Facebook for his detailing business, and we've had great success because I worked the process backwards. And this is a cool story because this is something I've never done before. I've never run ads before, but he was like, "Hey, business is slow. It's outside of season." I'm like, "Let me figure this out for you, bro. Like we'll figure it out together." You know? And I'm thinking like, "Okay, I'm a consumer, right? I just bought this meal prep company, right? And how did I go from just like thinking like, oh, I need this to like buying it? Okay, so here's the process. I was looking at something, it wasn't the right price. I put my phone away. I keep getting targeted with ads for that same thing that I was looking for. The one popped up that it was in my price range. The delivery time was when I wanted it to come, and everything just lined up. So I'm like, wait a second. If I can create an ad with a good visual and a good copy and an offer that people would take, right? It's a no-brainer. It's going to work. You just have to show it to enough people, right? So we were able to create this ad with very minimal spend and a good creative, a good video, right? Again, part of the foundational element of everything, video and a good picture. We A/B tested an image and a video, and they're performing really well. We're generating leads at like $7 a piece, you know? And this is something that I've never done before, right? But this goes back to the belief, right? I can do anything that I want to do.
Hell yeah.
I just have to do the work, do the research, and be willing to get uncomfortable.
And you figure it out.
And you figure it out.
And again, you can say the name. I don't want to because I don't know what's appropriate to say what clients you work with and not.
Yeah.
But there's a client of yours who's probably, if not one of, the best speaker I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And he has conquered every limiting belief, and he had a lot to conquer. Okay. And he's phenomenal in every single way. Mm-hmm. This guy is phenomenal in every single way. I mean, he's gone on Tony stages and crushed it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just made everybody else look silly. And this is the reason I'm bringing this up. But you knew from knowing him, you know, some of the content that's missing is when you're funny, when you're being silly, and it's why people are not, you know, they're just seeing you kind of promote and sell. Mm-hmm. You had him do that. Things got rejuvenated. You had him think YouTube in a bigger way. He's somebody with a big platform, but it wasn't performing. Mm-hmm. You had him go within weeks to 100,000 followers on YouTube. Then you get a 300,000, you know, or views. Was it 300? How do you word it in YouTube language? Subscribers, excuse me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But just that's a superpower.
I agree. Yeah. We'll let people figure out who that person is on their own. Because I think people bring out the best in other people. And I think that proximity is a thing. Yeah. You know, like when you get around high performing people, premium people, you're going to become one, you know? And I was blessed, extremely blessed to be a part of his journey and be a part of the process. But to also see, that's a very challenging situation, right? When somebody who isn't a very seasoned veteran in their industry come in to work with someone who has like a statue like that, it's like, oh man, what can I even provide this person? You think to yourself, like, how can I even enhance what they're doing when it's already fucking huge, you know? But I figured it out.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, that's another thing. Like, I may not have to come in and reinvent your whole process and like dissect everything, right? I could just look at the whole picture and we could maybe just make some small shifts, right? From an outside perspective, seeing the forest from the trees. And those small shifts can have huge, huge outcomes, right? It's funny. He always says, like, your life changes in the moment of decision. When you decide that you want something, or when you decide you want to make the change, it happens like that. It's not this long drawn out thing, right? Like we made small shifts, we decided, we boom, and boom, shit just went to the roof.
Yeah, quick pivot.
You know?
And that is your Phil Jackson to Michael Jordan moment.
Right.
You didn't teach him how to speak. You didn't give him any extra skills. You didn't show him how to conquer his mind, body, and soul, and to overcome every obstacle that he's had to come through. You didn't give it, but you saw the game. Mm-hmm. You saw the game, and you were like, "This is what your game's like. Your game's complete.
Yeah,
can't add anything. You got the dunk, you got the fadeaway, you got the dribble, you got the tongue out. You got your game's complete.
Yeah,
but it's not getting you here, and you were able to do the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. It's exactly what happened.
Right.
It's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I just posted a video today, and just typing out the caption, I was like, how is this my life?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we went all around the globe, not the country. We went all around the globe telling stories, creating memories, and changing people's lives. It's fucking wild.
I think you're going to be teaching people how to do that. I think your systems are going to be helping people do that.
Yeah.
I really believe that in my heart.
I do too. And I think that, you know, conversation started around coaching, right? And like now I'm still being coached, you know, and I think that's something that after having the experience with you, and then we both kind of got busy, we both were doing different things. Like that whole time where I wasn't working with a coach, I was like, man, I need a coach.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, but I wanted to find someone who could like specifically, again, same situation. Like you helped me achieve a very specific goal, right? And we did it very, we mapped it out perfectly.
100%.
You know, and then I'm like, okay, well, what's the next target?
Yeah.
What is the next goal, right? For me, it was grow and scale the business so that way I can have, I want to say stability, but maybe that's not the right word. Maybe just growth. I just want to continue to grow, you know. And I know from our experience working together and just life in general, like I don't always have the right answers, and I don't always know the right path to take. But if you have someone who's traveled the path before you, or maybe they have less experience than you, but like, or they're younger than you. Right? Like this is another thing, like, dude, the coach that I'm working with is like 10 years younger than me. But like, I don't even think about that.
No.
At all.
Because he has more experience in that area.
Exactly.
Look, sometimes you need a specialist in a certain area of your life.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a great topic.
Yeah. It's a specialist. Like, as people stay married and continue to get married, but sometimes you put everything into your children and you love your kids so much. Sometimes eventually they go, you know what, let's find a marriage coach or a marriage therapist because we need to reconnect and fall back in love and be. There's always a specialist in certain areas. You know, my main thing also is like I will always pay homage, pay tribute, give my love, give my just always tell people about what Dion has done for me.
Yeah.
How he's taught me, how he's raised me like a man, how if there's anybody I try to emulate in this world, it's him, on how he, right, with his fans, with his legacy, with his relationship with God, with anybody that needs help. He paved the way, and we're still tighter than he could ever be. I'm like his son and he's like my father. Yeah. Right. However, I can't play guitar and I can't sing a lick. Do you know what I mean? And I needed to go to the 6'8" monster to learn, okay, I need more special skills in this area of my life. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm helping people. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Because, even though I would love to emulate Dion's life on how I live as a man, how I compose myself, how I carry myself, how I treat other people, and he's family to me. He's truly my family. I need to get other skills from other people. Yeah. Tiger Woods had a swing coach. We always need to keep growing.
Yeah. You want to talk about the project that you guys are working on?
I would love to.
Yeah. Give us a insight, little sneak peek into what.
Yeah. So it started 4 years ago.
And also, wait, preface it. You said Dion. People may not know.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's weird for me sometimes, but
Yeah.
So Dion DiMucci. Dion is a rock and roll Hall of Fame legend.
The Wanderer.
The Wanderer.
Yeah.
And I can go story by story, but an example is
Run Around Sue.
Run Around Sue.
I feel like everybody knows these songs.
Yeah, Ruby
like
Baby.
You've heard them one time or the other.
Oh yeah,
so
Why Must I Be a Teenager in Love?
Yeah.
And he's the only guy that started in the 50s that has stayed relevant, right? And consistently making music. He's had 3 top #1 albums in the last 3 years at 83, 84, and 85 years old.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, Bruce Springsteen in his autobiography, said he emulated his craft, right? He emulated his craft, like what we're talking about.
Okay.
After 4 people. He wanted to write like Bob Dylan. He wanted to sing like Roy Orbison. He wanted to perform like James Brown. And he wanted to have the slick, cool New York soul feeling of Dion DiMucci.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Bob Dylan wrote about him in his autobiography. He's Bob Dylan's hero. He's a legend. They're having a Broadway play come out this coming fall, winter, maybe even into spring, called The Wanderer, about his life.
Yeah.
Kid from the Bronx, Catholic kid from the Bronx, starts making hit records, gets into heroin. His boys go down in a very famous fatal plane crash, which had Richie Valens, Buddy Holly, and the Big Bopper, and he was supposed to be on the plane, which sent him even further into his addiction. And it's the first Broadway show that really shows recovery. His life with Susan, his wife for 56 years. It's a masterpiece. So if you don't know him, you can look him up, but Dion is a legend. And I met him when I was 12 years old. And I was the one kid in the class that had this, I guess, a Northeastern feel, and and I knew who he was. And then I met him when it was time for me to get clean and sober, my very first meeting, and he took me under his wing that day. And
that's how you guys met?
Yeah.
In the rooms.
First in my, as that, because he remembered me.
When you were 12 years old, where was that?
That was down here. I moved from Jersey to Florida.
Okay.
And
you said class.
Yeah, so he came to our classroom. He came to the school to play.
This is what, middle school? Or?
Yeah, middle school.
He came to play.
And it was a big deal. Okay, so this is like 1986, 87.
Yeah.
And at that time,
that's the year I was born.
Yeah. Okay, so man, people are gonna be
still
like,
feel old though.
You're just wise. You're wise. You're mature. So
you had no
soul.
connection to this man.
None.
It was a pure fate thing that you guys met.
Absolutely fate.
I thought that he was like a family friend or something.
No, so I met him. No.
Okay.
No, I met him at 12.
Knew that.
And I was the one kid that ran up to him. It was a big deal back in those days, like these movies Stand By Me and La Bamba. And so there was a revival of the 50s music. And my dad had three 8-tracks, if you want to call it that, growing up. And it was Johnny Cash's greatest hits. God, Dad, I hope you don't watch this. Who the heck was it? Some old country singer that I can't even remember, and Dion's greatest hits.
So when he came into the school, you were a fan.
I was like, I knew who this guy was.
Wow.
I knew who this guy was. So I was the kid that ran up to him and was asking him questions and had the Jersey accent, and was chewing off his ear and listening to everything he said for like 15 minutes. And then I didn't see him again until my very first meeting.
That's wild.
And I came up to him.
Which was how long in between the two?
So 12, 30, 28 years.
So 30 is when you reconnected.
Yeah. And I go into my very first meeting.
And he remembered you.
So this is how I'm already nervous because I don't know what this whole new life is going to look like.
Yeah. That's wild.
And I see him in the corner, and he's laughing. He's having a good time. He's with these like icons, these
the old timers.
Yeah. And if you could, as I was walking up to him step by step, I was sweating. You know what I mean? And it's like a really like known meeting at the time, big meeting. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I'm like new to this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How to talk, resentments, chips. I didn't know what you know what I mean? Like, and So as I'm walking to him and I'm starting to sweat, you can hear the voice. He doesn't know who the hell you are. What are you doing? He's going to think you're asking for an autograph. They're going to kick you out of here your first day here. Like, this is what I help people with. I finally walk up to him and I'm like, Dion, and I met you when I was 12 years old. And he's like, he looked at me, he goes, "You're that kid?" And I'm like, yeah. He's like, how long have you been here in our thing? And I'm like, no, this is my first day. And he patted the seat next to him and he said, "Sit down." And next to him was his guy, and his name was Ben T. And Ben looked at me and was like, "Buckle up, kid. You're in for a hell of a ride." And these guys took me under their wing. Now, I did not know in this special fellowship of ours that there is old timers and knowledge and people that are really, really, really respected. But these two guys were like icons.
So that moment kind of changed.
That shifted everything.
Yeah.
So, over the years, he became a father. My dad taught me great qualities. My dad is an assassin. He's a killer, man. He's a cowboy. But I don't say that as an adjective. He's a true cowboy. Is that where you get the boots from? Yeah. Like he rode the rodeo and he was a great loving father, but he was a provider. And that's how he showed his love. He provided.
Okay.
And he was, and he crushed it. My dad crushed it. He's a business savant like you, knows he's a savant. And there were a lot of things in my character that I just didn't pick up on, or wasn't taught. And getting clean and sober, he taught me how to be a clean and sober man with integrity, with dignity, with honesty, how to be a clean and sober husband, how to be a clean and sober dad, how to talk to my children, how to be vulnerable, how to be open, how to be tough. Yeah. How to have balls, how to look somebody in the eye when I have a problem with them and not talk about them behind their back or drink. Or he really raised me. So we're very, very close. And then, 4 years ago, I said to him, we have lunch 2-3 times a week. I said to him, I really wish everybody could be in on these conversations. Like, I really wish everybody could. Because, they're about God and recovery, but they're about John Lennon, and they're about, he's met every single person there is, and it's so alive. It's like, and he goes, "That's a good idea." He's like, "Why don't we start documenting these?" So we started documenting one by one. Well, before we knew it, we had a book, we have a publisher, like this thing just started a steamroll, and it's coming out this year. And it's Dion, the Rock and Roll Philosopher. Conversations on life, recovery, music, and there's something else. It's my book, but but what it really is there's a very famous book called Tuesday at Morty's, where this older teacher is passing this wisdom to a young mentor. And that's what this book is. It's Dion this whole time teaching me how to be a man, how to be a sober man, how to be a good man, but through his stories, through his timeline. And we're really excited because, it's real. It's not some self-published thing. So they're talking about some big podcasts and some big shows. Yeah. And I'm really proud of it because I'm very big in paying homage to the people I learned from. Yeah. And showing love and respect. So it gets to show people how I became me.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
There's never been a book about him like
this? Oh,
this?
no, there has been. There's been a book there's a book about his life called The Wanderer. There's been a few, but none that kind of get this deep and chronicle it. Also in a really, look, his life is entertainment. Yeah. But really,
I watched a lot of YouTube videos on him after I figured out who it was. I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, but his life, it's a different era that we're in right now, and people don't want to be just entertained, but they want to be educated, and they want it to be real, and they want it to somehow affect. If they're gonna buy a book, they want it to somehow affect their life as well. Yeah, and this literally is
exactly why I read.
Yeah.
It's like sifting for gold.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm
that's,
sure there's so many nuggets in that book.
dude, I can't even begin to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, but it pops because, you know, imagine you have it all. The fame, the gold records. Every guy wants to be you. Every girl wants you. Right? And you're as successful as successful can be. You're the pinnacle. And you have no fulfillment in your life. Zero.
It's a dark place to be.
Drug addict, alcoholic. And that transformation, and now seeing it from an 85-year-old perspective, and passing that knowledge. It's not, you're not reading the story, it's the knowledge being passed.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
How did you come up with the idea? Like, what went through your brain when you're like, oh, we need to document this? And why is this project so important to you?
Those are great questions. It's your heart that you have too. It's what you've been talking about. That story about you taking the camera out and changing the woman's life by changing her story and taking a picture and letting her see a whole different new reality, a higher way of life. That feeling you can't pay money for that. You can't, it's very difficult to describe when you impact people like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've not only seen him impact me, I've seen him impact many, many lives. Right? From Broadway to Bruce to you name it, he's impacted them. To Bob Dylan. And I was the lucky chosen one to have some connection that became a father-son relationship. And I was like, this is not for me. You know, this stuff that's being given to me, this is not for me. Yeah. Like, there's no way that I could become the man I am today. And I see it affect every single person that he meets, and not share this knowledge.
Yeah. It's like your duty.
It felt like a duty. It felt like, what the hell are we on this world for anyway?
Yeah.
You know, it's to share and to love and to help and to nurture and to impact and to grow and be success, you know, and you can have success and fulfillment. Who knew?
Do you think that he had a limiting belief that his situation may not be able to be of value, and like you kind of nudged that and was like, yo, we need to do this because it's gonna,
you know,
or maybe it's like a technology lapse because of the age, or like, you know, I don't know. It's just so intriguing to me.
Yeah. So I think, you know, Dion one thing I could tell you about Dion, especially at 85, is he teaches me that you never stop growing. So I'll give you an example. He had a limiting belief, like he doesn't ask anybody for help at all. He doesn't ask anybody for anything, period. And all of a sudden he outgrew that. He's like, you know what? I'm going to make these records and I'm going to ask these people if they want to join me. Asks Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Bruce Springsteen, Paul Simon, Stevie Van Zandt, Mark Knopfler. I could go on, and every single person was like, hell yeah. Right? And what happened was his mind grew, and I don't think he had a limiting belief. I think he just knew there's something about sharing this is an opportunity.
Program does that to you.
Yes, this is an opportunity. And I think also, you know, something I talk about, you know this, but I don't share about this often, is there is no hero project without Dion.
Right.
You know, I was third generation in a family business, and my job was to at least be play at least as good as the other two guys. Mm-hmm. That was, you know what I mean? Like, and it was, you know, I share it all, you know, sometimes, you know, my grandfather was Joe Montana and my dad was Tom Brady. And how the hell am I going to live up to these two icons? And that type of tension and pressure only fueled my drinking. When I got clean and sober, I realized my skill set is Phil Jackson. I'm not even a quarterback. I'm a coach for a basketball team. I know how to lead. I know how to build harmony. I know how to see the play. And that's how I took over the company. So one of the reasons because you know what I mean? Some people want to be a coach. I was born like this and I hated it. I'm empathetic. I'm sensitive. I wanted to help people. I hit somebody in football. I'd pick them up. My coach would yell at me, call me a puss. Like, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, you know what I mean? Like, I felt feminine from it. And when we sold the family business and I looked at him, I'm like, what am I going to do now?
Kind of wanted to flip the script there because I think that this is something that we didn't dive into, but I think is also really important. When did you decide to? We talked about fear and walking through these stuff.
Yeah.
You left the secure, safe thing with the business and all that stuff to pursue something else. When did that shift happen? Why? And how did you muster up the balls to be like, I'm leaving the business?
Very similar to us. I had somebody that believed in me that knew that I wanted something bigger, but knew I needed
Was that Dion?
love. Yeah, it was Dion.
Okay.
And the
Full circle.
the full circle. And the actual facts are, we sold the business right before COVID. We did it. We dominated. And it's too long of a story to get into, but just as to say, manufacturing in the United States has plummeted. High fashion was dying. Also at that time, there was the Me Too movement, and a lot of the people that I worked with, big names, Victoria's Secrets, La Perla, Hanky Panky. I can go on through high fashion. They did not believe in the power of Amazon. They did not believe in it. They always believed that a woman's always going to want to go into a store and put a bra and panty on. They couldn't see it coming. Inventories. So we sold right at the right time, and now
So you weren't even thinking about coaching at that point.
No, I was a leader of a company. My natural coaching skill set came to my 300 employees and the people that would help in recovery, but it was never on my mind.
You knew you had the traits, but maybe you just didn't know like, how you could make a living doing it.
100%.
Okay. Come on in. Dax is gonna say goodnight.
The star.
Come on in,
man.
Come on, Mr. Bluey boy.
Go ahead.
Dax,
I can't go with you.
come in. What do you have around your neck? Good night, buddy. Thank you for letting me come over.
You took a tub? Did you wash your butt?
You took a shower.
Did you wash your butt?
Yeah.
Nice. Good move.
You're lying. But come on, let's go.
I love you.
I would have lied too. So I'll tell you the truth. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Did everyone else kind of in the family have a plan, or was it all just kind of like? I guess you had a little bit of financial backing to be like, okay, I have time.
I had a little financial backing.
Yeah, so you're like, I don't have to go get a job right away.
I mean, it wasn't my dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it wasn't that kind of family where, I made it, so you get it.
But you also had family at that point too.
And I had a family.
Yeah, you have
So
two
there was
kids.
like a nice package that I could figure it out on.
Okay.
There was a nice package that I could figure it out on. And this is such a long story because like the family business was the first child. It always was the first child. It was the first child of my, before my father and my uncle were born. And to me, there was the family business and then me and my sister. Like this thing was the hub of everything. Right. Everything revolved around the family business.
And then one day it's
gone.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I was nervous.
Yeah.
And my skills are in manufacturing lace.
Pretty niche.
Okay, yeah. So I could tell you, at that time, I could tell you way more about nylon, polyesters, rayons, gauges, needle repeats, machinery type, where it would go, bras, panties, what size. I could tell you way more about that, how the dye will take to certain yarns. You know what I mean? If you want a 4x70 semi-dull, if you want a 3x70 dull. I had this trade that wasn't going to go I have knowledge that does nothing for me. And I called Dion. And I was like, I literally said, what the hell am I going to do now? And he said, what are you talking about? You're finally going to be Adam Jablin.
Ooh.
you're going to show people how to be a hero. And the Hero Project was born.
That's incredible.
I didn't have a day off. It literally was the door shut. And I talked to him. And it was the very first time in my life that I was taking a risk on myself. And I got 3 credit cards under my name, wouldn't affect my family. And there was already news of the pandemic. And I just took some calculated risks. And I was like, I got to build a social media. I got to get a little more education and knowledge. And I got to get myself out there. And that risk hockey sticked because it was COVID. And this is about like us, like what you're doing, you growing, how you're still continuing to grow, how I'm growing, where I'm at now, right? From the Hero Project to the Jablin method, everything you're doing for people out there, from, social media to full systems to, teaching them how to get clients, what you just said about with the Facebook ads, right? There's this, I did a quick hockey stick, right? I know you experienced something like that too. And then before I knew it, I was known as the one-on-one guy.
Yeah.
And that can only take you so far. But I believed the lie. I believed I was the one-on-one guy. That's where you and I are at with everybody you and I talk to and help. I truly, don't get me wrong. We'll teach them what they need to be taught. We'll help them where they need to be helped. We'll nurture them. We'll push them when they need to be pushed, but we'll love them when they need to be loved. But at the end of the day, what lie are you believing? I'm not going to start something called the Jablin method. You know what I mean? That's your problem. Then you don't believe in your skill set enough to put your name on it. I'm not you. You calling me a narcissist? Like,
yeah.
And I don't think this is ever going to stop. 85 years old. Calls Bruce Springsteen. Yes. Calls Eric Clapton. Yes. I think if we don't stop growing, we don't stop evolving until we're done, until we're dead.
Yeah.
Andrew, I know a lot of people now that are coming into this space and they're wanting to grow their careers. It could be my career, but maybe not even that. They're trying to have a deeper platform where they can find more people, affect more people.
Yeah.
And I know you do I've seen what you do. Like, I've seen it. I've experienced it myself. And the outreach that you get. Like, where would I tell somebody to go to work with you personally?
Yeah, I would say that, there are many avenues that you could take when it goes to that. But the core of everyone's thing is that they usually either want to just grow their brand, grow their either personal brand or business, or they want to make more money. Those are usually like the 2 core things, right? So when you look at that, it's like, well, how do I do that through social media? That's usually the challenge, right? So, with jumping into a system like this where you're creating consistent content, like everybody's competing with TikTok's algorithm where it's like, look, you can get thousands and thousands of views on your profile with a small account. So even if you don't have 250,000 followers or whatever it is, you can post a video, right? If you're consistent with it and you post a video, every day on Instagram or wherever it is, your small account can reach thousands and thousands of people, right? And it only takes, a few of those people interested in what you're talking about to turn them into leads and nurture them and turn them into a client, turn those strangers from social media into an actual paying client, right? So, yeah, I mean, if somebody's interested in that like, systematic approach, just reach out to me. My Instagram is at ASNYCZ, Nice Productions. I have a website that's out there as well. Like you are a close friend and a client, and like most of my clients are my friends.
Yeah.
And like that's how we're able to have success, right? We get and understand each other on a deeper level, right? And that allows us to create more impact because I can help people feel a certain type of way on camera, feel more comfortable, right? Because I know that good content is created around talking about what you're passionate about, right? What you're excited about, right? And when you channel that and you portray that through the camera, people on the other end of the phone are going to sense that, right? They're going to know, like, man, this person's passionate. Man, this person knows what they're talking about. I was feeling that the whole beginning of our conversation when you were talking about your story and everything that you do. So when people can sense that, it's a recipe for success.
That's also what I love about you, because I'm sure there are a lot of people like me out there. You put them in their element and they're great.
Yeah.
You know, if you put me on stage, I'm comfortable. Like, I'm really,
Yeah.
really comfortable. But when it came to being in front of a camera,
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you press record, things change.
things change, and
Yeah.
you were able to make me super comfortable and bring the best out of me, and actually say things that were relevant that I didn't know what somebody on a phone would want to hear.
Right.
I couldn't understand that.
That's the
because it's not a
challenge, yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do you impact people within 5 to 30 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I think you've mastered.
Yeah. And that's all about, like, figuring out who you want to speak to, right? So, like, in the beginning of a post, you're usually, like, calling out your audience, right? Like, hey, are you a coach, an online entrepreneur, somebody who blah, 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 right? You're pre-qualifying them, right? And I have a process that I go through with all my clients to figure out who that is. It's called the niche document, right? Where we map out, who it is that you want to talk to. There's a lot of things that go into it, but that allows us to really, it's part of the onboarding process, right? That allows us to really get an idea and figure out who it is that you're talking to, right? And then it goes to pain points, right? Because your ideal audience and your clients, your future clients, whatever you want to frame it, they have a pain point. What is that pain point, right? And then on the other end of that, we have some type of solution to offer them. So figure out who you want to speak to. What is their pain point? What is the gap? How can we help them get there?
Yeah.
That's what we focus on.
Yeah, but also that gift of just working with you individually is, even when you have all that laid out, you somehow know how to lower the fever to make me and every other individual really, really comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
It is. And it came with a lot of reps and practice.
Yeah.
But I think at the core, I just try to be authentic, be who I am, and be a good person, and just have good energy, and that just bleeds through to everyone else. So it's like I'm gonna give that energy to you. You're gonna give it to the camera, and that's gonna come through on the phone, and then it's gonna go to the customer, and it's all just gonna come back to everyone. All right, everyone. So that's gonna wrap up this episode. Adam, thank you so much for coming out. I want to close this episode with two things. The first thing I want you to do is tell people, obviously, where they can find you, right? I want people to know that. I'll put everything in the description below, but, you are a high-performing, high-level individual, but you're also accessible, which I really, really like. And then I also want you to close us out with something practical that somebody can use and apply in their life today, whether they're going through something, maybe it's a limiting belief, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, low confidence. We all have those moments, right?
Yeah.
So tell people where they can find you, and give somebody a practical tool that they can use if they might be battling something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so since I'm 48 years old, I made it easy for myself and everyone. So it's at Adam Jablin everywhere. You know what I mean? It's and you could, so it's Instagram.
It's Jablin.
Jablin.
You're a fast talker, Northeast fast talker.
Yeah.
Adam Jablin.
I gotta
Adam
slow
Jablin.
that. I gotta slow that down. And here's the one thing that I would want to help every single person with, and it's really, really simple. You could use a journal if you want, but you could even do it in your mind. What if you truly, truly took full responsibility for every single thing in your life? Everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. You took full responsibility for every single thing. you and I were taught it, but it's a really simple 3-step process that every single person can do, you know? If you could trust a higher power, trust God, trust invisible forces, trust that tomorrow will come, trust Mother Nature, trust God, whatever you want to call that. If you clean your house, the inside of your house, not the outside, truly take a look of what's going on inside and don't blame anybody for anything that's happened to you, and then help another person, you have the recipe for life.
Oof. There you have it, everybody. I think one last thing on that. So you said take responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? The first thing that came into my head was victim mentality. So we'll leave you with that. If you're playing the victim in your life right now, in any circumstance, in any situation, you think life dealt you a bad bad hand of cards or whatever it is, remember, you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. Peace.
Peace.